Hello, my loves. How are you? So we've had quite the portal from 1/1 to 1/11. I was unable to come on yesterday because my microphone stopped working. I had to go get a new one, which I knew was a deeper reflection of the shifting of communication energies. And as we go through upgrades and expansion, our tech has to upgrade to match our new frequencies and vibrations. So, quite a bit has obviously opened in the past 12 days. And I'm just going to open up again and ask to bring forth what will be the most beneficial messages for you. There's so much that's been opening and shifting, especially since the acceptance of the masculine session. There's a few things that are coming through that I think are really important to touch on because this acceptance of the masculine is about the acceptance of our own energy. And yes, it's also about accepting the external reflection with the masculine energies. This acceptance, however, has multiple layers of meaning. And I'm going to touch on some of those here right now because this acceptance is about the relational truth, right? You can know who someone is and feel who they are at a soul level. And you can also experience a completely different reality in the physical human form. This does not mean that it's the soul essence that you're picking up on is not true. And the soul essence that you pick up on also does not negate that they're showing you in physical human form who they are in that essence. So, multiple things can be true at the same time. The key piece is accepting reality, accepting the energies for all of who they are, and accepting their capacity and the potential of what you see at that soul level, but also acknowledging and accepting where they are in the physical world. And there's zero judgments around any of this. It's actually just acceptance of what things are. And there's not a need to really do anything about it. And this reflects back to our internal energies around accepting those parts of ourselves and noticing maybe where parts of you were frozen or where parts of you were not in congruence with your higher self and your human self. Nothing wrong with it. It's part of what we're actually working on, right? So, interestingly, for myself, through the process of bringing in that session, and allowing the energies to keep opening deeper and deeper for myself, it revealed pockets and layers that I have worked on multiple times before. But what happened this time is it presented in a way that allowed the bigger pattern to shift out of my system. And so, all of those topics that we talked about leading up to where maybe the masculine energies hold guilt or shame or the infidelity or betrayal or abandonment, and how that's like a reflection from the internal to the external mirror in both directions. The main thing is that I myself found a whole deeper part of my own inner masculine energy that was frozen back to when I was a little kid. Now, this is a topic that I'm not only been aware of, but I've worked on it. I've actually talked to you guys about it, about actually remembering where I shut my system down when I was 3 because I was seeing and experiencing things, and there was no adults that could support me through that. So the most beneficial thing I knew how to do at that time was close it down. Well, over this process, I've been shown a different perspective or a deeper perspective, a broader perspective, where when I shut that down, I was also shutting down part of my higher self, my higher connection to the masculine energies because I was in a protective state. Excuse me. Apparently, I really am going through a communication upgrade. So, anyway, there's still a lot of different things processing. And this is why it all really always comes back to those internal union energies. Because as we're accepting things as they are, as we accept all the parts of who we are, as we accept the truth of what is occurring in our physical world, as we accept the higher potentials, as we accept um, the highest timeline, as we work to embody our standards and provide and show up for ourselves, this acceptance of all that is actually provides us the space to embody deeper into our own self trust. In this energy of acceptance of the past and what everything has been allows us to come into the present moment. And as we come into the present, now we have the opportunity to provide those things for ourselves that we once were denied from adults, from the counterpart, from the external world. And now we're grown up, so we can start to embody and provide those for ourselves. And the beautiful part about this is like as you're building the inner trust to provide for yourself, this is how we embody into the capacity to hold an open heart while navigating this world. Okay. This isn't about having an open heart and just letting anything come into your space any type of way. It's about having an open heart so that you can attract what's aligned for you and opening yourself up to new experiences and new connections and new relationships, or even revisiting past relationships or connections for repair in a way that's allowing you to trust yourself to know that if anything that doesn't feel correct or aligned, you're going to take a step back and care for yourself. You're going to provide that space and time that's necessary for you to know how to proceed in a way that feels safe and comfortable and respectful for you and the other people involved. And I spoke yesterday on my Patreon about how and why things slow down when you're in the ascension process, when you're in the embodiment process. And this is happening for multiple reasons, some of which is the fact that you're actually getting an alignment with that higher potential. And so things slow down so that you can start to calibrate and move to the timeline, to the energy, to the experiences that actually match that highest potential. But then also, your things slow down and life gets quieter and there's less people in your life because you're shifting in your energy as you're embodying, as you're tempering, as you're becoming clearer and more secure and confident within yourself and navigating your own truth and trusting yourself. What happens is the world around you starts to respond to your stability versus you being pulled in a lot of directions by everything else around you. So, what we've been witnessing, especially over this past week or so, is let me know if you guys have been feeling this. It's almost like you're within the eye of the storm. There might not be a lot going on, but you're aware that there's a lot of movement in the periphery. There's a lot of shifting in the energies, or you're noticing that you're orienting to the world, you're orienting to the cosmos, you're orienting to your higher self, and your experience in a new way because you just leveled up, because you're opening up more of who you are. Now you're reorienting to what that new space looks and feels like, and how you're going to relate to that within yourself and the world around you. So the reason I started out with this 1-1 to 111 portal is because yesterday I was shown like 111 to 2-2. And as I looked it up, it's actually almost, I think it's exactly 6 weeks to the day. So this next 6 weeks is going to be another big portal of time where things are opening. No, it was 222, excuse me. It was 111 to 222. I can't remember. Maybe I said 22. Well, you have the 22 in the middle of that anyway as like a checkpoint. So we have 3 to 6 weeks where a lot is going to be opening and shifting, especially as you're working with your deeper internal union energies and this acceptance of the internal masculine reflected in the acceptance of the external masculine. And this heart opening, what I'm being guided to open up to next, which will probably most likely be the next session that I record, is the restoration and retrieval of the heart energy. And this is the restoration from the energy in the heart space that was frozen internally, as well as any of the parts of our hearts or your heart that was popped out of the body or protected in another way or never fully landed into the heart space. And what I sense very, very deeply around this is the divine masculine collective has been holding a mirror for this energy to the divine feminine collective. And it's where each and every one of us, regardless of how we identify, can continue to soften and restore our own heart space, our own internal energies, and allowing for that deeper restoration of the internal heart and the retrieval of any of those parts that may have been frozen. Like I said, it can be from where you popped out as a kid, where it never felt safe to really come into the body because maybe it wasn't safe in your environment at the level that your soul was capable of embodying. And so you adjusted based on what support was actually available, but now you're supporting yourself and receiving supports at a higher level, at a higher capacity. So it is safe to come back home to the body and come back home to the heart, especially. Okay. And this is with saying those dates, it feels like that's what's going to be opening up over these next 3 to 6 weeks. Ironically or not, we have Valentine's Day within there, which makes sense, right? We're going into the love, the romance, the heart energies. And after this sort of landed, it became almost immediately into my awareness that on 3/3 this year, we have a full lunar eclipse, a blood moon lunar eclipse on the 3/3 portal. So this window between 111 and 3/3 is some massive energies. We know that we're always working within this, but it's clicking in with the information that's been coming in for months around January and February being deep transition months, and March being a real kickoff into building the new momentum. And now that I know that there's a full lunar eclipse present with that time frame, it really suggests that with eclipses, we know there's a lot that either leaves quickly and a lot that comes in quickly. So we're laying the groundwork for that opportunity right now. And it feels important to just keep working with the energies that are in front of you, keep building that trust with yourself, keep embodying into your inner union more and more. And as you are working in these deeper states, just being aware of the inner child, being aware of the inner teen, especially as we talked last week about the sexual energies and those past experiences around relationships, even well, your own relationships, but perhaps ones that you witnessed in your life. Even your parents' relationship is very significant to how your heart initially understood love, relationship, and experiences from the human level. Of course, your soul knows the truth at those higher levels, but those two parts of you between your human and your soul are marrying for this current incarnation experience. And there's a reason for all of that, right? Your human needs your higher self, and your higher self needs your human for all of these experiences and the beautiful magic that is you in this lifetime. Your gifts, your talents, your uniqueness are all a result of your human experiences married with your soul remembrance. Okay, my loves. So I wanted to bring those messages in for you today. And I feel like I'm gonna bring in one more. While I was out getting my new microphone yesterday, I also was guided to go and just browse around Barnes and Noble. And I was actually guided and found a new card deck that I was excited to bring in. And part of it is because recently, we were retouching into the Lemurian and Atlantis energies. And I spoke about how it feels like we're reaching that point where we're going beyond that or before it. And this is called Beyond Lemuria. So, just for some fun, some new energy. The colors and the artwork is also gorgeous, which I always deeply appreciate. So, let's just see. I want to bring in one message for the feminines and I want to bring one for the masculines. And of course, I want you to look at these messages for your own inner energy, but then also assess how it affects and fits into the outer connections as well. Okay. I'm going to pick them both. Okay. So we have the first for the feminine is awakened awareness. And it's card number 17. And this to me feels like where the feminines have reached a certain point in their initiation. Yes, we're still expanding and growing and reorienting and adjusting, but it feels like we've been speaking about this is acknowledging that a certain pivot point has been reached and embodied so that now those next layers of expansion and reorientation are in process again. So some of you may be feeling such a big expansion within your own energetic field that your connection to the earth, your connection to source, your connection to the universe, your connection to the new earth grid, soul star, earth star, everything is in an upgrading, reorienting process. So you may feel a little bit in between worlds, but also simultaneously really feeling like I was saying some of those things that you've been working on for quite some time, the bigger overarching patterns are starting to dissolve out, which is revealing deeper states of awakening and awareness. So we continue to awaken to more of who we are. We continue to become aware of more of the energy, more of the quanta, more of the infinite potential of our beingness, the infinite potential of our universe. And I feel like there is an upgrade and an expansion occurring within the feminine polarity and essence right now. But of course, again, because we all hold these energies, this is an awakening that is occurring for all feminines, masculines, humans on some level. Okay. Some are just more deeply aware of it than others. But as I'm saying this, I'm feeling that there is new awarenesses that we're going to see really opening up on the planet, especially over these next few months. Okay. And for the masculine, we got two, but it's also cool because it's number 22 and oh no, there's three. Number 22, number 23, and then three. Okay, wow. So we have two, 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 three, three. And wow. Also, for those of you who know, the 22 really stands out to me for the masculine. And we have crystal keys, endless opportunities, and sacral chakra, core of creation. Wow. Okay. So the fact that we've been working especially with the masculine energies, this crystal keys is coming forward. To me, it's showing the shared space, and it's showing the space where you're working, if you're a feminine, working with your internal masculine energies and an external masculine in that shared pocket. Or if you are a masculine and you're working with the internal masculine and you're working within the energy of the masculine within the feminine. And if you're working for yourself with your own inner union, it's how are you working with the masculine energies in general. And then we can of course take it to another level where you just consider yourself human and you're working with the masculine energy in its human form, but also the higher masculine energies. And that is part of what I'm sensing and feeling when I click back into talking about the restoration and retrieval of the inner heart, of the masculine heart, and how we can reconnect to the higher source, higher divine masculine energies within ourself and within the universe. Okay. And we have this endless opportunities. And I have been speaking about the opportunities awakening. How this is coming through is as we work with accepting the masculine energies, as we welcome home with a warm heart our own internal masculine, we create a safe space for ourselves to land. And we also create a safe space for the external match to that to land in our life, no matter what, regardless of who is coming to match you in your physical life. The inner reflects the outer. So, as you're accepting all of the parts of who you are, you're now also opening opportunities to connect with others who are a reflection of that. Okay. And with the sacral chakra, core of creation, and the fact that we've been talking about the importance of harmonizing our sexual energies, it's coming back around. And this feels really important that this is about each of you choosing what your healthy, aligned sexual energies are. Most importantly, it's about accepting who you are and mastering your own energies, your sexual energies, your creation energies, your life force, your power, your stability, your love, your voice, your intuition, your truth, your connection, all of those, any part of you. It's about coming into harmonization with, again, that primal part of yourself, the spiritual part of yourself, and not feeling like you have to forego one for the other. And something that I did want to address was like people were asking if I was condoning like infidelity energies, and absolutely not. If people choose to have an open relationship because they both choose it because that feels aligned for them, that is their choice, right? I think what no matter what we choose, it should be because it truly feels like true for us and true for the other person. So if you want to be in a monogamous, true, safe relationship because that feels good and true and aligned for you, and you have a partner that wants to have multiple partners and not a monogamous relationship, this does not mean you forego what you want just to maintain that relationship. What I would encourage in a situation like that is for both of you to honor your truths and let each other go and honor instead of trying to force yourselves to be an experience that you're actually not. You see what I'm saying? And you don't have to get mad at one another because you want something different. Like you each are your own unique expression. And the unconditional love comes not from forcing yourself to deny what you want, but to honor and unconditionally love yourself, to honor what you actually want for yourself. And the unconditional love with the other person is to honor and allow them to experience what they want. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's appropriate for you to participate within that. Only you can know the answer to that. One thing that I will always encourage you to do is to honor and include yourself in the process. Okay. It's important to honor ourselves, and we can simultaneously honor another. It doesn't mean we're going to participate in it, though. That also, if we choose not to participate, does not mean that we're judging it. We're discerning what is appropriate for us. I think a big part that's needing to be healed within the sexual energies, within the sacral chakra, is the distortion, right? Is the betrayal, is the infidelity. If someone wants multiple partners, well, they should be honorable enough to say that up front. And if someone does not want that, they should be honorable enough to say that up front. Let's come into this as grown adults and actually deal with the truth, right? Instead of pretending that you want a monogamous relationship, but you're really wanting to keep your options open, right? Like, this is about coming into personal integrity with our own energy. And sexual energies and creation energies just happen to be a very large pocket that holds a lot of distortion because of how things have been suppressed and how shame and guilt have been infused into all of that. That's why we're working to resolve and dissolve that so that each of you or each of us can become more clearer in who we are, what we want, opening our own energies for ourselves, and then deciding what is true for us as individuals, and then deciding how we want to move from there. Knowledge is always power, my loves. Whenever you can know yourself deeper and embody into your standards for yourself first, well, now you've communicated to the world which opportunities you actually want to align with, which begins to become your natural protection. It's like a natural selection starts to occur. Because if you know you want to be in a monogamous relationship and you're committed to that for yourself and you're respecting that about yourself, well, the universe is going to start sending you opportunities that actually match that frequency. Okay. And vice versa. Whatever it is that you choose, this can relate to anything. All right. And as I'm saying this, I'm noticing within the bubbles, it's all of these butterflies. And this right here, if, as we're moving into the sacral chakra, it's like the sacral, this feels like the roots to me. And like as you allow your true self, your internal union, your harmonization, your transformation land into the roots, it allows your sacral chakra to emit a frequency that's actually aligned with what it is that you want. Now, if you're muddied, if you want a monogamous relationship, but you're allowing yourself to be in a relationship that's open, well, then you're not sending out the signal of a clear signal of what you really want. You see what I mean? So, your job is to actually get into the roots, into a stabilized space with who you really are, aligning with the type of relationship that you're wanting, the type of treatment and behavior that you're wanting to experience in your life and in your relationships. Okay. And this is a really big topic because, like I said, what you experienced growing up colored your thoughts around sex, around relationships, around marriage, right? What you witnessed in the world, what you saw on TV, what you experienced in your initial younger years, your first relationship and love experiences, your first experiences with your sexuality or intimacy. Those all played a role into these experiences that you're having now, but you also now have the power to really decide what is true for you and how can you embody that more deeply for yourself so that you can truly magnetize in the representation of what you actually want. Okay? All right, my loves, this feels really important for all. So, those internal union energies, the internal harmonization, right? And retrieval of your energies, of your aspects, is ultimately what will support you into living the experiences in the physical world that you've been praying to manifest. All right. I'm going to leave it there. I know this got kind of long. I'm going to let it open. If it feels aligned, I'm going to do a deeper part two on Patreon and YouTube for members, or if you want to get that video individually. Stay tuned. Probably sometime within the next few days, I'm going to be recording and sharing the restoration and retrieval of the heart energies. And for those of you who have not tuned in yet but are feeling connected with these topics, you may want to check out the reparation of the inner masculine and the acceptance of the masculine sessions that I did most recently. And also, just because so many of you have been contacting me about the nourishing the nervous system, I'm going to mention that really quickly here too. That is still available. And I know lots of you have been experiencing a lot of deeper embodiment and support through using those recordings. And I'm so grateful that you're feeling that. And thank you so much for sharing your experiences and results with me. It's always nice to know that you're having those results in real time. So again, all of that information will be in the pinned comment. And like I just mentioned, those recorded sessions are available, but there's also, again, like 40 or 50 sessions in all for so many different topics. If you want to check those out over on my web store, feel free to do that whenever and however you feel guided. All right, my loves, stay tuned. Beautiful work. We made it through the first 11 days of 2026, and it has been eventful and beautiful. And I'm really, really, really excited for what is opening, what's coming in, and the level of embodiment that's occurring as a result. I'm sending you so much love. Have a beautiful rest of your day. Take care. Peace.